Hello everyone, and welcome back to today's story. In this episode, we follow Deep and James as they face the most difficult battle of their lives. A fight not just against a cruel genetic illness, but against despair itself. When the doctor reveals that Deep's condition could turn into cancer, fear sets in. Yet, James refuses to surrender. Through sleepless nights, endless treatments, and the heavy storm raging outside, he stays by her side, feeding her, comforting her, and holding on to hope even when everything seems lost. Stay with us until the end to witness how love, patience, and unwavering belief can illuminate even the darkest corners of despair. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support truly means the world to us. The hospital room. The steady hum of machines filled the sterile hospital room, blending with the rhythmic sound of rain against the window. Too Deep lay pale and fragile on the white bed, her body trembling as the nurse inserted another needle into her arm. The fourth injection burned deep. This time, the pain was too much. Tears streamed silently down her cheeks, not from weakness, but from the kind of pain that pierces deeper than flesh. Beside her, James gripped her hand tightly. His voice was soft, trembling between fear and reassurance. "It's okay," he whispered. "Cry if it hurts. You don't have to hold it in." They were simple words, but they carried the weight of helpless love, the kind that bleeds quietly through the cracks of courage. He had seen this pain before, the long nights, the cold machines, the silent war between hope and despair. Each time she winced, his heart clenched, wishing he could bear her pain himself. The storm within. Rain pounded harder against the window, echoing Deep's ragged breaths. The storm outside mirrored the one raging inside her, relentless, unmerciful. James stood suddenly, his heart aching. He rushed out to buy her a warm meal, clutching the hospital access card as if it were the last thread holding him together. When he returned, the smell of freshly cooked porridge filled the cold air. He placed it gently on the table, pulling a chair close. "Eat a little, okay? You need strength to fight this." Deep looked at him, her lips trembling but her eyes soft. She took a small bite. The taste was bland, but the warmth was comfort enough. Between spoonfuls, James wiped her tears and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. In that quiet moment, something unspoken passed between them, a vow that whatever came next, they would face it together. "You've always been here for me," she whispered, "and I always will be," he replied. He didn't trust his voice anymore. Deep inside, fear coiled tight, fear that his love might not be enough to hold her back from the edge. The family waiting at home. Miles away, in a small kitchen dimly lit by oil lamps, the scent of porridge lingered in the air. Little Nhi sat at the wooden table, her small hands cradling a spoon she barely used. Across from her, Grandma Huyen stirred a pot slowly, the rhythmic scrape of the ladle filling the silence. Grandma, Nhi said suddenly, her voice small and trembling, I miss Aunt Deep so much. Huyen turned, forcing a smile though worry lined her face. Aunt Deep will come back soon, dear, she said softly, though even she wasn't sure she believed it. Thunder rumbled outside, echoing the fear neither dared to voice. I miss Uncle James too, Nhi added quietly. Her words pierced the quiet room like a fragile arrow. Huyen swallowed hard, whispering. They'll both be home soon. We just have to be patient. She blew gently on the porridge and fed Nhi a spoonful. The little girl smiled weakly. Grandma's porridge is the best, she said, and then, almost in a whisper. Will Aunt Deep really come back? The question lingered like a blade in the air. Huyen froze, her heart sinking. She set the spoon down and pulled the child close. She will, my dear, she murmured thickly. She has to. Outside, rain whispered against the roof like tears that refused to stop. The call that night. Hours later, Nyi's small face glowed in the light of a phone screen. Her eyes widened when she heard James's voice crackle through the speaker. Uncle James. I miss you and Aunt Deep so much. At the hospital, James smiled through exhaustion. We miss you too, sweetheart. Beside him, Deep's weak smile flickered through the haze of pain. Hi, Nhi, she whispered, her voice soft but full of love. I'll be home soon, okay? You promise? I promise, Deep said, though her trembling hands betrayed her fear. Huyen stroked Nyi's hair gently. Say goodbye now, dear. Aunt Deep needs to rest. Aunt Deep, get better soon. I'll draw you something. I'd love that, Deep whispered, her voice breaking. When the call ended, silence filled the room, but something powerful lingered, an invisible thread of love stretching across storm, distance, and fear. You see, James murmured, everyone's waiting for you. Deep nodded faintly, I know. But sometimes I wonder if I can keep fighting. You can, he said, his voice trembling but firm. We'll fight together. The diagnosis. Morning came gray and heavy. The doctor entered quietly, clipboard in hand. Mr. James, he began gently, the test results are in. Her condition is severe. The genetic markers show a high risk. If we don't act quickly, it could develop into cancer. The words fell like cold rain. What can we do? James asked. Strong medication. Continuous monitoring. Possibly surgery. But, he hesitated. The treatment will be painful and expensive. James nodded almost instantly. Do it, whatever it takes. I'll handle it. Deep turned toward him, weak but resolute. No, you've already spent so much. He brushed her hair back gently. You're not a burden, Deep. You're my life, between hope and fear. Later that day, the storm eased, leaving the sky low and gray. James stepped outside for air, the scent of wet earth filling his lungs. When he returned, Deep was sitting up, staring out the window. You're back, she said softly. I got you something. He held up a small bag of apples. You need vitamins, remember? She laughed faintly. You and your apples. He peeled one carefully and offered it to her. You're too good to me, not good enough, he whispered. After a moment, Deep's smile faded. If anything happens to me, promise you'll look after NHI and my mother. Don't, he interrupted, his voice sharp with emotion. You're not leaving anyone behind. She met his gaze, tears shimmering. Sometimes love means being prepared for the worst. He took her hand. Then promise me something too, don't stop fighting. The long nights. Days bled into nights. James barely slept. Each morning, he helped Deep eat, changed her blankets, read her stories. When she was too weak to talk, he filled the silence with his voice, calm, steady, and full of faith. James, she asked one evening, do you ever wonder why this happened to me? He thought for a moment. Maybe because life knew you were strong enough to face it. Strong? She smiled weakly. I don't feel strong. You're stronger than you think, he said. Even when you're scared, you still smile. Her tears fell silently. Then promise me one thing, she whispered. If I can't make it, live fully. Don't let this break you. You're not dying, he said, voice cracking. We're not done yet. That night, as the rain softened to a whisper, Deep drifted into sleep holding his hand. A ray of hope. Days later, the doctor walked in, a faint smile tugging at his tired face. Her latest scans show improvement. The treatment is working. James froze, his heart racing. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. He turned to Deep, tears spilling freely. Did you hear that? You're getting better. She smiled weakly, her hand trembling as she reached for his. We're getting better, she corrected. For the first time in weeks, sunlight streamed through the hospital window, warm, golden, alive. A step toward tomorrow. A week later, Deep stood for the first time. James was beside her, ready to catch her if she fell. She paused by the window, sunlight brushing her face. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It is," he said. "So are you." She laughed, a sound he had missed more than anything. "Stop it," she said. "You're making me blush." "Good," he teased. "I missed that smile." As they stood there, hand in hand, the hospital felt less like a cage and more like a bridge, one that had carried them from despair toward a fragile but radiant light. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not giving up on me." "We didn't give up on each other," he replied softly. Outside, the air smelled of sunlight and new beginnings, and for the first time in a long time, both believed that healing, like love, can begin even in the darkest storms.